Hi guys, in the last video we talked about attitudes, different types of attitudes, how they differ from each other based on high effort versus low effort, and what attitudes are made from. We learned that the attitudes consist of customers' beliefs about our products and evaluations of these beliefs. Today, we're going to talk about how we can change these attributes. And the reason we want to change them, because we want to change customers' behavior. So let's start from discussing a link, a connection between attributes and behavior. The general theory that describes this connection is called the theory of reasoned action. It implies that customers, before actually doing something, engage in certain reasoning. Well, that is an assumption. Assuming that customers think before doing something, that's kind of a big assumption. But we take it. So, theory of reasoned action implies that whether customers act on their attitudes or not believes on two big factors. One is attitude itself, attitude towards this behavior. This attitude is formed on based on customers' belief about the consequences of this behavior. Before buying a ticket to a music concert, customers think, what will happen when I go to this concert? Will I enjoy it? What risks I can take? If I go to vacation to this country, what will happen? What I will receive in exchange for my money and time and effort? They evaluate these consequences, whether they're pleasurable, whether they're negative, whether there are risks involved. And based on this evaluation of the consequences, they form attitude towards behavior. I want to go to this vacation. I'm all for it. I like the resort. But there is still a distance between this attitude, desire to go to this vacation, and actually going. This distance is called an attitude-behavior gap. This gap is a difference between what customers believe, what customers like, and what they actually do. This distance, in part, exists because of normative influences. What other people think about this behavior. Some important people, a customer's reference group, which can include family members, colleagues, friends, YouTube influencers, and movie characters. What they think about this kind of behavior. Their opinions form a subjective norm if customers agrees with their opinion. Their opinion become customers' own opinion, a subjective norm, what customer believe about this behavior. For example, we are all for environmentally friendly transportation, right? So public transportation is much more environmentally friendly than driving your own car. We know that, right? We support public transportation. do we drive our significant ones for a date on a bus? Do we? Why no? Because it kind of seems inappropriate. Why is that? Where this comes from? This is a norm that prevents us from acting on our attitude. So these two factors, attitudes and subjective norms, interplay to form a behavioral intention, what customers intend to do. I can be genuinely willing to go on this vacation. But there is still a difference between behavioral intention and actual behavior. There can be objective obstacles, or there can be just lack of motivation. We talked about motivation in one of our first classes. So even if people know they need to save money for retirement, and they genuinely going to do it, they still don't. So there are two parts of this attitude behavior gap, a gap between attitude and behavioral intention, and between intention and behavior itself. One of the attempts to reinterpret this gap and explain it in a little more detail is a theory of planned behavior. It is an extension over theory of reasoned action. And the difference is that theory of planned behavior adds one more component, one more factor into consideration. Behind just attitude towards behavior and subjective norms, theory of planned behavior also considers perceived control, whether customers believe they can change something, whether customers believe they have control over the outcomes of their action. Customers can be all environmentally friendly and conscious. They can be willing to buy green products. They may have a strong attitude, a preference to environmentally friendly green products, right? But if they don't believe it's gonna change anything, like whether you buy green products or not, climate change isn't something to be stopped. It's just some astronomical scale event humans has nothing to do with. They think that action's not gonna change anything. They have no control, no power. So they fail to act on their attitudes. This is why many ads emphasize this customer control. Like, this is your choice. You can change this. This depends on you. This kind of messaging is focused on customers' perception of control. Yet, in many instances, having all the intention, genuine belief and intention to do something is very different from actually doing it. Like brands engage in brand health tracking when they run surveys and measure customers' attitudes towards this brand. How it changes over time depending on different events, depending on advertising campaigns and all. But surveys can be misleading. It's important to know that what customers say is not always what they do. So if our job as marketers is to change attitudes rather than just measure them with surveys, how we can do it? If we know that attitude has cognitive, rational component and affection, emotional component, then changing the attitude can be done by two ways: by focusing on cognitive or affective part of the attitude. So when we try to change customers' cognition, since attitudes consist of beliefs and evaluations, we can try to change either belief or evaluation of this belief. Notice that changing belief is hard. Customers resist our attempt to influence what they believe in. But it's possible. Witness case of Hyundai. Several decades ago, Hyundai was considered a low quality car, like low end car. They could only compete at the very low end of the market, among the very cheap cars. But they invested not in improving their product quality, and they invested a lot in advertising. Over decades, it enabled them to start delivering middle-class car. It's yet not quite clear if they can go up to the higher end of the market and launch some luxury offers. Toyota at some point realized that no one's gonna buy a luxury Toyota. So they created a sister brand, Lexus, which is basically a luxury Toyota. Because they realized that they just cannot change customers' belief. But to some extent, it's possible, and Hyundai did this. Another way of influencing the attitude is changing which beliefs, which attributes and characteristics of a product customers take into consideration. To a certain degree, this is what content marketing on internet is all about. When we publish white papers, infographics, studies, and research on certain topic and promote our product category, like instead of advertising my own services as a digital marketer, I start promoting digital marketing as a category in general. In doing so, I could educate potential customers about how they should evaluate digital marketing services. What attributes, what beliefs about this service should be considered. So that when they actually start considering purchasing and hiring someone, they would evaluate these services based on how I taught them to evaluate it. When all their brands launch like independent websites and independent NGOs dedicated to studying, say, tourism and evaluating different destinations, what they're trying to do, they're trying to promote certain set of beliefs and influence customers' choice as to what beliefs are important. Consumer guides like how to choose a perfect bike. They teach customers which attributes are important and what to look for. Other ways of influencing beliefs can include adding a new belief. Especially if we add certain feature to our product, we can emphasize that this feature is important. And finally, we can target normative beliefs. If customers like our brand, but do not buy it because they think this brand doesn't fit them, I am too old to wear this. We can change this norm or customers' perception of this norm rather than their attitude towards our product. They already like our product. So now we need to get them to believe that this product belongs to them. It still fits them. You're not too old to wear this. On the other hand, we discussed that customers interpret the message based on where they get it. They assess not only product and message itself, but also medium. For customers to believe our message, the source should be credible. Customers should believe that this is a trustworthy source that has expert knowledge of this product category. There are very reliable and high reputation of consumer studies like Consumer Report. They're doing it for decades, assessing and comparing consumer electronic and household appliances and cars. Customers know them for a long time and they trust these sources. When information comes from company itself, whether customers will believe it or not depends on company reputation. Message itself has as equally powerful influence on how it perceived as a message source and as a brand itself. I have attached a couple videos to this class that shows two competing approaches to influencing consumer attitudes. One is based on cognitive activity, providing a lot of information about a brand. Another is based on emotional appeal, getting customers to laugh. When it comes to cognitive appeal, our ability to influence customer attitudes depends on importance of the argument, importance of our claim. When we argue that our product has the greatest choice of colors, we need to ensure that colors are important for customers. If no one cares about colors, that what this argument is about, it's not going to change anything. Look at Gillette, for example. Gillette used to be a product-focused company. They always emphasized their superior shaving technology and the ultimate quality of their shaving razors. Well, at some point, they realized that competitors recreated, re-engineered their product, and they do not have that much superiority in terms of technology and quality anymore. It's hard to argue that your product is superior if customers cannot feel it. Like if your product is 2% better than competitor's product, customers wouldn't notice. Remember, just noticeable difference and differential thresholds. So Gillette turned overnight, changed direction, and started advertising on what? Remember these toxic masculinity ads? They started advertising on social issues, on gender equality. They realize that these issues are more important for customers now than 2% increase in razor quality. This argument can be either one-sided when we talked about pros and advantages of our product, or two-sided if we mention disadvantages and concerns as well. And sometimes we can include our competitors into consideration. Many brands do that, sometimes without naming their competitors or comparing themselves to like average product in this category. This is how our product is more effective than our average competitor. Not your average Joe's, right? So if we try to influence customers' attitudes from the other side, from emotional rather than cognitive and rational side of an attitude, we want customers to engage with our product and emotionally, on an emotional level. One of the benefits of doing it is that emotional reaction, emotional consideration is more holistic and more general than cognitive one. When customers assess our product and evaluate it thoroughly by thinking about it, they weigh different attributes and they see where we're strong and where we're not. Where they react emotionally, they react more holistically on how they assess the product, our product in general. It can help hide some weaknesses and disadvantages of our product by eliciting emotional reaction to its strong sides. Many brands succeed by appealing to customers' emotion and eliciting emotions in response to their advertising. Like these McDonald's ads right there at the right corner. What could McDonald's say about their service to appeal to customers' cognition? They have kind of a bad reputation for food quality and many other aspects of their service. So instead of arguing and engaging in an argument about what's good and what's bad about their service, they change the conversation by appealing to emotions, getting customers to laugh. Emotional reaction to advertising depends on the source attractiveness, whether it's beautiful, whether it's likable, whether customers can relate to it and consider it similar to themselves. On the other side, advertising should match the product. This example on the right shows David Beckham advertising H&M. It is an interesting example for two reasons. This is a pretty famous and, say, physically attractive person, former global soccer superstar. But also, he advertises H&M. Notice, like a multi-billionaire advertising affordable family clothing. There is a mismatch. Could you imagine David Beckham actually wearing H&M? He would never do that. Emotional messaging should be both attractive and authentic. In terms of authenticity, notice that emotional appeal must necessarily to be necessarily positive. We focus on positive emotions when we try to elicit emotional contagion. Advertising that shows smiling people, happy people, expects customers to form a belief that using this product will make them happy. Oh, look at all these cute families that spend so much time and have so much fun together. If we buy this Nivea perfume, we're gonna be such a happy family too. Of course, customers do not think it exactly. No one thinks that if I buy H&M, I'm gonna look like David Beckham. Not happening. Customers do not believe it consciously, but subconsciously on emotional level, they relate to this positive emotion and experience them itself. But being authentic is more important than being positive. Emotional ads can appear to customer fear, especially for customers who are high on prevention and focused on prevention goals and try to avoid negative consequences and risks. Trying to scare them can be an effective way. Many social ads that advertise conscious driving and ask people or quitting smoking focus on fear appeals. They try to scare customers by showing and emphasizing possible negative consequences of their action. The ultimate fear in human life is death. This is an imminent existential threat. All humans fear death. So if nothing else works, we could appeal to death and try to scare them. This death always elicits strong emotional reaction, which can be even a positive one. You know, like when a dad throws baby into the air and then catches their baby back, baby starts smiling and laughing. You know why? When you throw a baby into the air, it scares them to death. They stop the breathing. When you catch a baby back, it's so glad it avoided death, gets an endorphin boost and becomes very happy. That's how all the death threats work. And that's why shows like Game of Thrones are so popular. By killing a lot of characters, they remind the audience about the death and elicit positive reaction about avoiding it. Emotional ad can focus on utilitarian function by providing information about how this product is good for you, which benefits it deliver. Wear our H&M shorts and you will look like David Beckham and become attractive to everyone. Or it can focus on hedonic benefits, like try our new perfume and you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna indulge yourself and experience happiness. The trick is that customers like not just a brand advertiser. The ability of an ad to influence customers' attitude towards a brand depends on customers' attitude toward the ad itself and toward the medium where they encounter this ad. The ability of an attitude to predict behavior, in turn, depends on many factors such as customers' knowledge and experience, previous experience with this product and with this category, emotional attachment to this particular brand based, for example, on customers' personal memories, and level of engagement with this product. Emotional reaction to an ad creates a level of engagement. Customers feel connected to this brand. When they experience positive emotions, these positive emotions become associated with the brand. So when we talk about engagement, for example, on social media, it's not about likes, number of followers and reposts and all this stuff. No one really interested in it. Likes do not sell. But they indicate emotional attachment. They show positive attitude. When people like our brand's posts on social media, it means they like our brand. And if they like our brand, they are more likely to buy from us. That's the ultimate success, where we get the people to act on their attitude. But this is two very different tasks. And this is probably the most important marketing implication. Getting people to like our product, to form a positive attitude, and getting them to act on this attitude. For ultimate success, we must do both.